Hey all, Matt Stockton here. I just wanted to share something I've been playing around with this week and figured I'd do a quick video and spin through to show some of my workflow for trying out new AI tools and capabilities that I'm discovering. To backtrack a bit, the primary way I discover new things to look into is via Twitter. There's a lot of great folks on Twitter that are posting interesting content about large language models and AI in general. There's a lot of signal. There's also a lot of noise, but there's a pretty large set of people that post really high quality content on a regular basis. One person I really like to follow is this guy Ethan Mollick. He's a professor at Wharton, studying AI innovation and startups. He posts sometimes really deeply technical papers, but also posts some fun stuff and some tools that anyone can try out. He's also written a really good book called Co-Intelligence. Highly recommend it for people who want to understand more about this space. And it's a really accessible book, really good. I wrote a blurb about it on my site, kind of my takeaways, but encourage people to check this book out from their library and dig in if they want to learn more. Anyways, Ethan posted this tweet about a new AI image generation model called Flux that he was playing around with. And, on the surface, the images looked really, really astounding. And I wanted to give this a try. And so I didn't necessarily want to, I dug into this Pinocchio.computer thing and I didn't want to install it on my own machine. And so I wanted to see how else can I run this thing. And, a lot of these AI capabilities and tools, there's often a free way to run them or try them out. And the barrier to doing so is pretty limited. Like you don't need to know how to code oftentimes, but you just got to find the right channel to try it out. So what I did is I went to Perplexity, and for those who don't know Perplexity yet, Perplexity is a really interesting kind of, I guess I'd call it almost like a search engine with LLM capabilities, but it's a bit different than ChatGPT in that you go to it, you type in a question, it references different web results, but gives you a more kind of targeted result and just kind of gives you the answer most of the time instead of you having to sort through a bunch of results in a typical search engine. So I came into Perplexity and I asked it, how can I try out the new Flux image model for free? It gave me a couple options. One option it gave was this hugging face, which I've used before. And I tried it out, but I've already ran out of free credits for the day. So after I did that, I asked, are there any other good options? So you can ask follow-up questions in Perplexity, which is really cool. And it pointed me to this tool called Replicate. So let's I'll put him to a Medium article that referenced Replicate. And so if we go to Replicate, what Replicate is it's a way for you to basically work with different AI and LLM capabilities through like a platform, through an API that they provide, so that you don't have to write custom code against these models or download the models themselves. It's actually a really interesting way for you to not have to write a bunch of infrastructure to run these models, which is really cool. I plan to dig in more to this. But the other thing it allows you to do is just try these models in a browser. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explore models and I'm going to find this Flux model that Perplexity recommended, that Ethan Mollick had highlighted as something that's really cool. And you can kind of click in this model. And this interface may look a little intimidating for people that aren't technical, but all it's really doing is providing you a way to try out the API in the browser, which gives you a way to test the capabilities of this Flux model. And of course, you can come after you test it and figure out how to take whatever you want to use from this model and run it, in your Python application or whatnot. So this is a really nice way to try things out. But also, if you're going to build something more in depth, you can actually learn how to build the code through these interfaces. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and just try out the model. So basically what you can do for these things is for these AI image generation models is you can give them a prompt and they will generate an image for you. So let's do a photorealistic picture of a dad playing soccer with his daughter, Lake is something that I like to do as well. It looks like you can select how many outputs to generate. So let's generate 4 pictures. And there's other things you can set, and you can learn about what these parameters do. I think seed, if you set this to a specific number every time and generate images, it'll generate the same ones. But if you don't, there's some randomness in how the process works. You don't have to know about all that stuff. You can just try this out. So I'm going to just click run here and see what happens. And this is all free. I'm not even signed in. So you can just try this stuff out for free and see what happens. And it takes a bit of time. But check this out. It's pretty remarkable what these image models can do now. I mean, some of these look like extremely realistic. But anyways, it's a really, just the overall theme here is there's not a lot of barriers to trying out these tools. And all it really takes is just some willingness to say, hey, I'm going to jump in and find something that's interesting and try it out. And, the cool thing is through this process for me is, I discovered Replicate, and it really looks like a great kind of middleware solution for integrating with a bunch of different AI and LLM libraries. So you can see here, there's libraries to generate music, to generate speech, to generate text. And this kind of allows you to work with all of them if you were to build an application. That's one of the interesting things about the space is it's moving so fast. There's so many things coming out every day that it's really easy to be overwhelmed. But if you try something and it leads you down a path to building something that can actually add value to you or your company or for a startup you're trying to build, there's a lot of interesting things to be done. Anyways, just wanted to continue sharing what I'm learning and love to hear from folks who are also playing around in the space.